It's Lee from On Your Marks Wrestling, and I'm here with a 205 Live review. Full disclosure, I actually hadn't watched 205 Live in a really long time. I've been hearing that it was getting much better of late, but there's so much wrestling out there, and I try to still keep watching the main shows, and it's difficult to balance everything out. But I'm going to try to watch 205 Live a little more often. I've added it back to my PVR, and we're going to see how it goes. Now, I know that I watched 205 Live a couple weeks ago, at least for the intro, because I needed to see who the next 205 Live commissioner would be, or what do they call it? General manager. And it turned out to be Rockstar Spud, also known as Drake Maverick. And I thought that was a good pick. I knew he had signed, and it made sense. He's a pretty good talker. They gave a really nice summary of what's been happening on 205 Live of late, with their tournament going on and everything else. So it was nice. I got kind of caught up to what's been happening, and it sped things along for me, so I didn't have to kind of try to guess what's been happening or try to really pay attention to the commentary to figure it out. I will say I'm not that familiar with Vic Joseph's work, but I kind of liked it. It's subtle. It's not over the top. It's probably not going to last with the company because of that, but still, I liked it. He and Nigel McGuinness made a decent team. I've always liked Nigel. Like, he's not the best, but how do I describe this? I find he lacks a little bit of an energy, but I love that he kind of treats this as if it's a real fight, and he'll say, headlocks don't win a match, but they'll wear an opponent down until you can win your match and things like that. I like that about Nigel, and sometimes he can be a little cheeky, which I like too. Vic Joseph plays it pretty straightforward, but that's good. That's actually a relief. I find the thing I kind of kept going back to during 205 Live is that it's really nice to watch something and not be sold other things. So they barely, like they mentioned WrestleMania, don't get me wrong, they did a few things, but most of the talk was about the match itself, or about a rivalry, or about the events leading up to the match. Not much was about, the pay-per-view coming up this Sunday, They didn't say that. I don't even think I heard anything about this Sunday, because I guess the 205 Live roster isn't really part of that. But still, it was nice to not hear too much selling themselves. I find that's so annoying about WWE nowadays, is that everything's a commercial. Even non-commercials are commercials. It works for them, whatever. So there was a match. The first match that started was for this tournament. And I'm going to look down at my notes a lot because I don't remember names very well. So it was Mark Andrews, who comes into his kind of pop-punk theme song and dances around to it. I like that kind of music back in the early 2000s, but I'm not a big fan of this theme song. But whatever, it's his gimmick. Gulak comes in with a song I've never heard before. Like, I've heard Gulak's music before, but I don't think it was this. Just before the match, he actually did a little interview where he made a reference to the PowerPoint presentation. It just doesn't land as well now that he's not kind of overly goofy. Now he's kind of a mean Drew Gulak, which is fine. Whatever, it's all cool. What do I remember about this match? I remember thinking, like, Gulak should get some knee pads. Even if he doesn't need knee pads, he should get knee pads. I wrote a few notes down here in terms of moves. Gulak slaps Andrews at one point, and it's one of the hardest slaps in the face I've ever seen in wrestling, and it was great. And later on, Andrews retaliates, but it's not quite as good. It's still pretty good, but it's not quite as good. I liked, at one point, Gulak did this kind of half press slam, half body slam, where he kind of just pumped Andrews up once and then slammed him down. And I liked that. It was weird, but it didn't seem to serve a purpose to pump him once, but it was impressive nonetheless. There was a standing, twisting moonsault by Andrews, which was impressive. Andrews is a high flyer. He's a tiny little guy. It's fun to watch him move around. Then Andrews' finisher, I believe, is normally a shooting star press. I don't know if it's his finisher, but I know he does it a lot. He does a shooting star press, but Gulak gets the knees up, and then Gulak gets him in a dragon sleeper, which is one of the grossest looking finishers, right? Like just a submission move. It looks so painful. So he gets him in a Dragon Sleeper. Andrews taps out nice and early, but Gulak kind of sinks it in, keeps it on for 10 seconds, just to show that he's a meaner Drew Gulak. It was a fine match, nothing out of this world, but absolutely good for what it was. Did its job. Then Tozawa and Atami show up. Apparently they lost last week, or in their last matches, we'll say, in this tournament. And Drake Maverick, I always want to call him Rockstar Spot. Drake Maverick comes in, tells him, I set you guys up in a tag team match because I know that you're both angry about losing your last matches, and I think you guys will bring the best out of each other if you can work together. And it was kind of a generic, mean-nothing promo. And the truth is, he put them together because, well, he was told to put them together, or they were told they were going to be put together because they're both Japanese. Let's be honest, WWE loves to match colors, racial backgrounds. They like to match anything, styles. They like to match everything. Two Japanese guys, let's make a tag team out of them. That's what they were thinking. Let's be honest. But it's cool. It's absolutely fine. They're good guys. Then there's so that was a little promo. Then there's a cut to another promo, which is outdoors. It's Mustafa Ali just sitting on some steps somewhere. And he actually cuts a really good promo. He says he not introduced, but invited Murphy in, congratulated him, looked into his eyes, and Murphy said, "Thanks, I'm glad to be here," but his eyes were saying, "You're in my way, I want to beat you," kind of deal. So, and Ali just talks about that. He's like, "Look into my eyes, I want to beat you," and all that stuff. I thought it was actually delivered very well. I really enjoyed that promo. I like that kind of stuff, out of your element type stuff. It was perfect. So then it goes back to the Tozawa Itami match. They're taking on a jobber tag team. I didn't bother writing the names. One of the jobbers actually looked like a proper wrestler. Like he was physically fit and looked right. The other guy kind of looked a little softer in the middle. But that's okay. Match was kind of generic. Nothing all that special. I guess they made a point of showing that there was some tag team chemistry between Tozawa and Itami, and it was fun to watch. The thing, I wrote some notes, not necessarily about the match and the moves, because it was pretty formulaic, but I did write that Tozawa isn't the biggest star in WWE or on 205 Live, but he's more over than most. People still do that I can't even do it, ha cheer or whatever it is. They like Tozawa. During his promo earlier, he just said something about Drake Maverick being fired, and then just smiled, and the crowd laughs at that, even though it's not even a joke, but they like it. Itami strikes are still really good, and then I wrote that the Japanese guys win, because that's what their tag team name is to me right now. Roderick Strong cuts a short "I work harder than everyone else" promo from the training center. That's fine. It's setting up his matchup with Cedric Alexander later on. Cedric Alexander, you see him walk into the shot, sit down on a chair, and then cuts his promo. It's a little strange, but it was fine. Just delivers I'm tired of coming in second place. I'm here to win the championship. I'm going to go to WrestleMania and get that. Then they cut to the Buddy Murphy. I guess there was a WWE.com exclusive weigh-in of Buddy Murphy, and this was something of note here is that Rockstar, why do I keep calling him that? Drake Maverick, kind of screws up when he tries to deliver okay, it's time for your official weigh-in. So he restarts himself and goes, 3, 2, 1, okay, it's time for, and they actually kept the whole thing in there, which was strange, but okay. Like, I think it was just a mistake, but that's fine. Whatever. It's hard to speak live. I couldn't do it. So the first thing I noticed in this match is just how impressive Buddy Murphy's physique is. Like, that guy is jacked. He's got kind of a physique similar to Neville's when Neville was in 205 Live. Very jacked, but still super fast and mobile. There's a great spot in this. So they're kind of establishing, hey, Murphy is bigger, but maybe Ali is stronger, maybe Ali's more athletic, something like that. So at one point, Murphy is flung out of the ring somehow, and Ali sees him and he says, "Okay, I'm gonna run into the ropes and I'm gonna do a dive onto Murphy." And so he runs into the ropes, and when he turns around, Murphy is right there, and Ali just kind of stops, all surprised by how quickly Murphy got back into the ring. And Murphy's just like, "Yeah, that's right. I'm this fast. I'm faster than you." And it's just like a great spot. And then later on, there's a lot of back and forth, and I'm going to skip a lot of things, but eventually Ali hits a 450 splash onto the arm of Murphy, and it looked great. It really looked vicious. And then Ali does a lot of work on the arm. Murphy has a little comeback with a couple strength moves. Does a great, I don't know what they call it, it's tope con hilo, something like that. When they do a forward flip outside of the ring, his looks better than most, if not all. He does one of those. Eventually, he tries his finishing move on Ali, but his arm is too damaged to do it. So he tries a roll up, fails to get the roll up. Ali gets the roll up, and Murphy's arm is too weak to push out of it. So Ali ends up winning on a roll up. I really enjoyed this second match. Ali's been in a lot of good matches. I did catch a couple kind of 205 Live matches just on a whim at some points. Ali's had some really good matches with Cedric Alexander, especially. So if you have a chance to watch anything with Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, or even just Mustafa Ali, make a point of watching it. That guy's a high flyer. He's got a lot of. He's getting better with his facial expressions too. He's kind of in this one. He kind of almost looked like a heel turn at one point because of how mean his face was looking. So it was great work by both guys. Really enjoyed it. I really like Buddy Murphy. I kind of want to see more of Buddy Murphy too. So I'm looking forward to that. 205 Live, a much tighter show. Doesn't feel like it goes on forever because the announcers aren't repeating themselves over and over again, selling me on something else. So it actually all feels fresh throughout the process. I liked it a lot. I'm going to do my NXT review shortly, and then I'm going to do an Impact review after that. So it's going to be a busy couple days because my work has been crazy, and I didn't get to watch much wrestling, and then I also went to a concert this week, so I'm a little bit behind, but I will get caught up, and I'm looking forward to Elimination Chamber. Not Elimination Chamber, excuse me, that was last pay-per-view, but Fastlane on Sunday. So lots of wrestling to watch in the next few days. But that was my review of 205 Live. Expect another one next week. I might start combining my reviews and hopefully shortening them up a little bit. I'm still getting my feet wet for this. So, all right, thanks for watching.